testify should submit a speaker slip to the clerk, or if testifying remotely, should use the raise hand feature. All right, the first portion of our agenda is for the general. Are we good?
When the YouTube live stream.
Okay, that was very awkward. All right, this first portion of our agenda is for the general public comment. This period gives the public an opportunity to comment on matters not on today's agenda. Mr. Martin, do we have any requests to speak on this?
We have received no requests to speak. I do have two people in the attendees column. If anybody would like to speak on an item not on today's agenda, please raise your hand in the chat. Looks like we have no public comment.
All right, moving on. Mr. Martin.
Item number 1, 23 CDH-00016, IVSR LLC new single-family dwelling, SB 330. This is a hearing on the request of IVSR LLC, property owner, to consider the following case number 23 CDH-1, I'm sorry, 00016, and to determine the project is exempt pursuant to sections 15301, existing facilities, and 15303, new construction of conversion of small structures of the state guidelines for implementation of the California Environmental Quality Act.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martin. I do not have any ex parte communications to announce. Ms. Brown, are you ready to proceed?
Good morning, Ms. Liu. My name is Willow Brown, and I will be presenting the IVSR LLC new single-family dwelling project. The project is being processed under the Housing Accountability Act and Senate Bill 330, which includes protections for housing development projects, such as the vesting of applicable objective standards at the time the application was submitted. Additionally, the project is subject to a maximum of 5 hearings, including hearing continuances and hearings for appeals. Projects that are consistent with objective standards cannot be disapproved or conditioned to lower density unless the decision maker finds, supported by a preponderance of the evidence in the record, that the project would have a specific adverse impact upon the public health or safety, and there is no feasible method to satisfactorily mitigate or avoid the adverse impact. The subject property is a 0.33 acre parcel located at 6595 Del Playa Drive in the Goleta Community Plan area and is zoned SRM8. The project before you today is a request for a coastal development permit to allow demolition of the existing single-family dwelling and construction of a new 2,404 square foot single-family dwelling with a 783 square foot attached garage and attached decks totaling 68 square feet. The project also includes 2 double-stacked bike lockers, 2 bike racks, and landscaping. An accessory dwelling unit is proposed under separate permits. The proposed project complies with all applicable objective requirements of the Article 2 Coastal Zoning Ordinance and the Comprehensive Plan, including the Coastal Land Use Plan and Goleta Community Plan, and is exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines sections 15301, existing facilities, and 15303, new construction or conversion of small structures. Staff recommends that you make the required findings for the project, including CEQA findings, determine the project is exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines sections 15301 and 15303, and approve the coastal development permit subject to the conditions of approval. This concludes staff's presentation, and staff and the applicant are available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Brown. Mr. Roy, are you here? If you want to come up to the podium. Mr. Martin, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
We have received no letters, but I would like to give an opportunity for the virtual attendees. If anybody would like to comment on this item, please raise your hand in the chat.
While that's going on, Mr. Roy, do you have anything to add to Ms. Brown's presentation?
No, I don't have anything to add. Thank you.
All right, and I assume you have reviewed all the conditions of approval that Ms. Brown is recommending for this project?
Yes, I have.
And you reviewed it with your clients?
Yes, I have.
And do you have any opposition to the conditions?
I do not.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Martin? No.
Looks like we have no requests to speak for this item.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Brown, I don't have any further questions for you. Looks like everything is as straightforward as can be for this project. So I'll go ahead and close out the public hearing for this item. And I will make the required findings for this project as specified in attachment A of the staff report, including the CEQA findings. And I do determine that this project is exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines section 15301 and 15303, as outlined in the notice of exemption included as attachment C to the staff report. And I approve this project case number 23 CDH 00016, subject to the conditions of approval included as attachment B of the staff report. Thank you very much, Ms. Brown. Mr. Roy, thank you. Mr. Martin, we'll give a few minutes for Ms. Knoll to. Ready? All right, Mr. Martin, our next item, please.
Item number 2, this is a hearing on the request of SoCal Gas to consider the following case number 23 CDH-0003 for a coastal development permit and to determine and to adopt the mitigated negative declaration 24 NGD-00004 pursuant to the state guidelines for implementation of the Environmental Quality Act. As a result of this project, significant but mitigable effects on the environment are anticipated in the following categories: aesthetics, air quality, biological resources, cultural resources, geological resources, noise, and recreation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martin. I do not have any ex parte communications to announce. Ms. Knoll, are you ready to proceed?
Yes, I am.
All right, you're on.
Good morning, Madam Zoning Administrator. I'm Katie Knoll, the case planner for the SoCal Gas Line 247 Segment 2 Replacement Project, which is case number 23 CDH3. The applicant, SoCal Gas, is requesting approval to replace about half a mile of Line 247, which is an existing high-pressure natural gas transmission line, which runs parallel to Highway 101. This section of line is near El Capitan Canyon Resort along the Gaviota coast, and replacement would include 3 phases. The first, SoCal Gas will jack and bore a new pipeline section underneath the El Capitan Canyon Creek to avoid construction work within the creek. Second, they would install a temporary bypass line, which would allow continuous use of the pipeline system during construction work. And then 3, once the new line is installed underground, they would connect the new line to the existing tie-ins, hydro test it to confirm successful installation, and then remove the accessible portions of the old line 247 and the temporary bypass. An M&D was prepared for the project, and all mitigation measures identified have been incorporated as conditions of approval in attachment B. Overall, all potential impacts can be mitigated, and all new equipment would be located underground, and any disturbance areas would be revegetated or repaved to the satisfaction of either the Parks Department or the bike path and or compliance staff. Staff recommends Madam Zoning Administrator approves the project subject to the findings and conditions of approval included as attachments A and B, and adopt the M&D subject to CEQA. That sums up the project. In addition to myself, we also have the SoCal Gas team online and in person to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Knoll. Who on the applicant's side is going to speak on their behalf? Mr. Chuang?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you for being here. Do you have anything to add to Ms. Knoll's presentation?
No, nothing to add, but we agreed to all the conditions of the approval.
I'm sorry, say that again?
We agreed to all the conditions of approval.
All right, great. And you already, sorry. Thank you very much. You also have Holly. All right, great. Thank you very much. Mr. Martin, I see that there are requests to speak on this.
Yes, we will begin public comment. We will begin with Anna Citron, and if you do wish to make a public comment on this item, please raise your hand in the chat and we will call on you. Okay, we will begin with Anna Citron. You have 3 minutes.
Ms. Citron?
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Good morning, Zoning Administrator Liu. Anna Citron, Legal and Policy Director for the Gaviota Coast Conservancy. Because of this project's location in a highly sensitive area, we have, as with other segments of this line, followed the environmental review and to ensure that there are appropriate conditions for each significant impact. And here we appreciate all of the attention that was given to recreational resources in revisions to the final MND and in the condition letter from the Parks Department, and really want to thank Ms. Knoll and Parks Department staff for getting that together and ensuring that that this segment of existing bike path is replaced and will provide a benefit in terms of being repaved and meeting current safety standards. It's our hope that as projects proceed in the future, that attention can be given to achieving connectivity between segments of existing trail, so that eventually we could safely ride bikes from Goleta out throughout the Gaviota Coast to access these important state beaches. So anyway, just want to thank you all for your attention to that, and that was our primary concern. So thank you. All right,
Thank
that's
you
it.
very much, Ms. Citrin. Mr. Martin, are there any additional requests to speak?
I see no other hands raised. If anybody else would like to make a comment on this item, please raise your hand in the chat. Seeing none, so no public comment.
Thank you very much. I'll go ahead and close out the public hearing for that item. Just out of curiosity, Ms. Knoll, I know that this is related to kind of this overall project, and there were additional approvals that I previously provided. Has that section of the project already been completed, or?
Madam Zoning Administrator, so there's been 2 previous approvals that you've provided for similar work. The first was back in 2021 for basically the same project, but just west of the site. That work has been completed. The other approval that you provided, which was last year, August 2024, it wasn't necessarily for the same type of work. It was more specific to an anomaly located within Dos Pueblos Creek. That one, they've began work, but they were waiting out the winter season. So they're going to begin construction again pretty soon.
And then how long is construction on this particular approval expected to take?
This one will take approximately 16 weeks, but that will take place within phases. So they'll initiate one phase, and then once that's wrapped up, they'll initiate the second phase.
And again, out of curiosity, are there additional portions of this line that is expected to be repaired as well?
Sure. So as far as staff is aware, no, we have not received any application for a new for continued work. That might be a better question for the applicant's team.
Mr. Twang?
Yes, for this type of work, this is a class location change for this particular project. So due to the increase in the campgrounds activities, we had to increase the wall thickness for the pipe along this section. So this type of activity is dependent on development in the area.
So are there any additional expected projects in the future that would impact line 247 in the near future that you know of?
I'm unaware, yes.
All right, great. Thank you very much.
Mm.
All right, I don't have any further questions for you. Again, those were all just curiosity questions, not really related to this decision. So I'll go ahead and make the required findings for this project as specified in attachment A of the staff report, including the CEQA findings. I do adopt the negative declaration 24 NGD 0004 included as attachment C of the staff report, and adopt the mitigation monitoring program contained in the conditions of approval, included as attachment B. And I approve the project case number 23 CDH 0003, subject to the conditions of approval included as attachment B of the staff report. Thank you very much, Ms. Knoll, for being here. Thank you. Mr. Chuang, thank you. And Ms. Harris, thank you for being here.
We are
All
adjourned.
right. Yeah, Mr. Martin, thank you very much. I think this concludes our hearing for